Horizon Gents, home Lucy reaction, and this is why South America's geography is way weirder than you think by the channel RealLifeLore. South America's geography is way weirder. I don't know, I think people don't realize how big countries are in South America, because I was surprised how big Brazil was the first time I reacted to a video about it. Brazil is ridiculously big. I never thought of it like that, but yeah. So weird, I don't know how it's weird. I guess it's not directly south of North America. That's something, I realized it's, in weird way, it's a bit in the right side. But yeah, I don't know how it's, weirder than you think. But it's gonna be a fun video. I wrote quite a few real life lore videos already. If you haven't seen them, check out the cards. There's a playlist I wrote for it, real life lore reaction, something like that. Check out the playlist too, like CGP Grey, Internet Historian, Old Sarcastic Production, Tearzo, things like that. And yeah, let's watch this one.
This video is made possible by CuriosityStream. When you sign up for an annual subscription, you'll also get access to Nebula, my own streaming site, co-founded with dozens of other educational creators. The geography of South America is pretty strange. It's home to 14 countries, including the very famous South American countries of the Netherlands and France. But wait, hang on, those countries are in Europe. Alas, that might largely be true, but do tell me, which country does France share her longest border with? You'd probably want to say something like Germany or Belgium or perhaps even Spain, but if you measure them all up, the answer that you're going to end up getting is delightfully Brazil. You see, there's a chunk of France in South America that's marked on maps as French Guyana, but it's not an independent country. It's literally 100% fully a part of France and the European Union, the same way that Alaska is part of the United States.
I mean, yeah, France does that a lot. I saw the latest Grand Tour episode where they were in Indian Ocean somewhere. There's an island there that is not part of France in a way, like, it's a France's island or something. No, it's literally France. That is one of the part of the France. So if you take a flight from there to France, that's considered, I guess, domestic, inter-country flight or something. That's just ridiculous. I mean, that's a bit weird, isn't it? Because it's also part of EU because it is France, but it's not in the Europe. Yeah, other countries basically has other their own basically islands and things somewhere else, but they consider them part of the empire, but not actual part of the country. While all these places are literally France. That is weird. That's why, France is basically has lots of other borders too than people would realize. This is one of the, I didn't know, there is a place near Brazil that is France, but apparently there you go.
Because of this goofy little geographic quirk, the largest national park in the European Union is actually not located anywhere in Europe, but in South America, inside of French Guyana, the Guyana Amazonian Park. Right next door to France here is Suriname, and despite Suriname and Brazil sharing a fairly long border between them, there isn't a single road that connects them together, meaning that right now, the only way for you to drive from Brazil into Suriname or vice versa is to either drive through Guyana first or France. And speaking of Brazil, it's important for me to show you exactly how huge a country Brazil actually is. This is the northernmost point of Brazil, and this down here is the southernmost point of Brazil. How many other countries do you think the northern—
I don't know which video I saw, a long time ago. I don't know. I deleted lots of video from the early times because I had to. There was an issue there. But one of the videos I reacted, in that I realized that Brazil is ridiculously big, because people usually, when they don't see things like this, they realize that Brazil is going to be something big, like this big. Nobody realizes it's going to be this big. This is humongous.
Most point is closer to than it is to the southernmost point. Obviously places like Venezuela, Guyana, and the now not so unexpected France, but if you measure all of the distances out in straight great circle lines, you'll find that the northernmost point is closer to Colombia, Argentina, Ecuador, Mexico, and even the United States than it is to Brazil's southernmost point. But it can't be closer to Canada too. Can it? Well, if you measure it out again, you'll actually see that, yep, most unexpectedly, Brazil's northernmost point is even closer to Canada too.
Get out of here! Brazil's north point is closer to Canada than it is with its south point. Okay, so it turns from here, and USA is like this, it's turning still when you're at the USA, and then Canada goes like that, so it becomes, damn, nobody thinks like this. But yeah, look at that, North America, South America, it turns a lot.
than it is to Brazil's southernmost point. Brazil's northernmost point is in fact closer to every single other country in the Americas than it is to Brazil's southernmost point, a fact that defies most appeals to common sense. But even more shocking than that is this. What geographic location do you believe is closer to Brazil, Miami or Africa? Starting again at the same northernmost point of Brazil, the straight shot distance over to Miami.
The way things are going is definitely Africa, and it even looks like that. This is closer.
Miami is 2,898 kilometers as the crow flies, but Brazil's easternmost point over here is only 2,883 kilometers away from Sierra Leone across the mid-Atlantic, which means that Brazil is located a very narrow 15 kilometers closer to Africa than it is to Miami, meaning that you can factually say that Miami is further away from Brazil than Africa. The biggest reason for why this may come as a surprise to you is because most of us in the northern hemisphere have a weird misunderstanding of where exactly South America is located geographically. We all know that South America is, of course, south of North America, but it's easy to forget or simply not know that South America isn't directly south of North America. If you're in the United States and look south and you draw a straight line down from your gaze, it's unlikely that that line will ever actually hit South America. This is because if you start in Jacksonville, Florida, and draw a line straight down across the globe, you'll discover that the entire South American continent lies just to the east of this line.
Yeah, that is one of the surprising thing as well. You know that they are not in the straight line, obviously, but you don't realize that how right side South America is from the North America, when it's really right side. Look at that.
South America is so far east that the entire continent is significantly east of Detroit, and therefore most of the United States. South America is much further east than most of us believe it to be in our heads, and because of that, there's some other interesting geographic
that looks awesome. Look at that.
Despite not being strictly located in South America, the Panama Canal is close enough to warrant some mention here. The canal enables ships to travel between the western Pacific Ocean and the eastern Atlantic Ocean quickly without having to sail all the way around South America. But if you zoom in closer to the canal itself, you discover that ships travel through it in a rather unexpected direction. If you're starting in the eastern Atlantic Ocean and you're going across the canal to the western Pacific Ocean, you actually begin in the north and generally travel southeast to reach the Pacific. To further complicate your confusion, the Atlantic side of the canal is actually further to the west than the Pacific side is, which means that to travel from the Atlantic to the Pacific, you actually end up traveling east. South America is so far south.
I don't know what the point of that fact is. I mean, it's just how the geography is at that small point. I mean, why does it matter? You're going from one side to another. I mean, I get it, the biggest thing here is basically South America's way, in the right side than people realize. I mean, people think, South America is literally below North America. But whoever basically had a glimpse of the map would think, oh no, it's not directly down, it's a bit at the right side. But even they don't realize how right side it is. It's really at the right side, and that is just ridiculous. About the Brazil, I mean, Canada is closer to Brazil because, basically USA goes like this and then Canada starts.
Southeast, that it's actually on the exact opposite side of the world from Asia. If you began anywhere in South America and dug a hole straight down to the other side, here is a map showing you where you'd end up popping out at. If you began in Argentina or Chile, you'd end up somewhere in Siberia, Mongolia, or China. Paraguay would get you into Taiwan, Peru would cause you to wind up in Vietnam, Cambodia, or Malaysia, Brazil would get you into the Philippines or Indonesia, while Colombia, Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, and French Guyana would all end up putting you across the various islands of Indonesia. So yeah, South America's geography.
So any one of those cartoons and things where they saw that somebody from the USA starts to dig in and gets out from the other side and it's China or something. It's not true. If you start to dig from USA, you basically end up in the Indian Ocean or something. But if you're in the southern point of the South America, then you would go in. Basically, you would dig directly to China, I guess.
is probably a little weirder than you might have thought it was. Now, if you've made it this far into watching, then you probably love Real Life Lore, and I'm sure that you've probably already heard all about CuriosityStream, the documentary streaming service that has—
Yeah, people, go to curiositystream.com/reallifelore and support that channel. Oh, look at that view. I love this pyramid view. 4,500 old pyramids, and they looks like that. Yeah, I mean, South America's geography is weirder in that sense. I mean, it's more right than you would think. It's not directly below North America. Certain points are much closer to it than you would think, like Canada, even the Africa. Yeah. In France thing, I mean, yeah, that is just surprising, isn't it? France has basic places that are literally part of France. Not that it's one of the countries of France or one of the islands of France or part of the French Empire. No, they're literally France. That is weird. Yeah, alright people, if you like my reaction, don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out the reaction day, there's a link in the description. Check out the cast of the playlist, check out the end cards, and I'll see you next time.